If you've made somewhere between 0 and 20 sales on Etsy, or you've made sales but they feel completely random and you have no idea why they happened, I need you to listen for a hot minute because I'm about to run something I only do a couple of times a year. It is called, drumroll please, the Listathon, and it's completely free live challenge starting the 16th of March where I'm going to walk you through fixing the core foundations of your listings properly. We're not adding more products. We're not posting more on Instagram. We're not working harder. I'm not adding anything more to your plate because guess what? We are fixing what's already sitting in your shop. The titles, the photos, the structure, the bits that quietly decide whether someone buys or whether they click away. So if you're tired of refreshing your dashboard and hoping something changes, this is the moment you stop hoping and start fixing. It's live trainings by me, it's free, and it's honestly business changing. It's for the handmade business owner who knows their products are good, but their shop just isn't pulling its weight yet. Spots are open now. Go to handmadebosses.com/listathon week. Link will also be below, and get yourself signed up to this free life-changing challenge. I promise you, you're going to love it and you're going to take something amazing away from it. Canva can absolutely make you money. And in this video, I want to share with you 5 real ways to make money with Canva, okay? These are the exact things that you want to create, how to price them, and how to list them on Etsy. No drama, keeping it super, super simple. One question I want to ask you here is, why is it people online make this whole digital product, Canva, whatever, sound so incredibly easy, but yet you're still stuck tweaking at Canva, learning Canva, figuring it all out, when actually all they're doing is, showing up, giving you a dream, and then kind of like leaving you in the dark behind a paywall, expecting you to pay for the guidance that you're going to need. So we're going to fix that today. Now, one thing I do want to talk about is no passive income BS is going to come out of my mouth today, okay? You wouldn't expect any product, whether it's handmade or not, to sell without learning, testing, improving, and showing up. So please do not expect this video to show you how to make passive income, because coming from someone who's had multiple different businesses, I've made over £1 million at this point in time. One thing I can tell you with a lot of confidence is there ain't no business out there that is passive. I'm sorry if that has been your dream. I'm sorry if maybe like you want to make money on the side, but maybe, the job is jobbing, the kids are kidsing, the dog is whatever. And you are just like, okay, I need to make money with as little time as I possibly can. I'm sorry to burst your bubble. And this might be a bit like deflating, but like it's going to be as much work as an ordinary business is. I know at the moment it's like, logic, really? Are you sure, Steph? Because, I don't have to ship anything. I don't have to do any of that. Yeah, sure. But the niche is extremely saturated. There's a lot of people out there doing it. And also you have to market this, you have to learn, you have to test, you have to improve, you have to show up, you have to market your business. So, there is no such thing as a passive income business. I'm sorry to say. I've seen thousands of handmade sellers try digital products, Etsy, Canva templates, quick wins that aren't really wins. The difference between those who make money with Canva and sellers who just like list a lot of pretty things is that they design for buyers. This is something I see a lot of, especially on YouTube and TikTok and all the likely places, is that they'll show up on a video or a podcast like this one, and they will go, oh, like you can go to a creative market and you can download clip art and you can put it into Canva and you can tweak a couple of little things, and oh look, I've suddenly made a letter A print. Like, oh yeah, awesome, I'm going to list that and it's going to sell for like £5, £10, £20. The issue is that if you're doing that, you're basically making pretty things, and they are really pretty, but you're not making them for buyers. And this is the key thing that people miss, and this is the key thing that a lot of like Etsy gurus, influencers, whatever, they kind of miss out on, is that they come up with this whole, oh yes, Canva, yeah, you get it, and you create stuff and you sell, but like creating is the easy bit. selling and marketing and actually making money is the hard bit. So like, if I leave you with one thing throughout this entire video, is design for buyers. Don't just make pretty things. Okay, now let's get into the meat and potatoes of this video. So let's talk about the 5 ways. That's going to be like the main thing throughout this whole video, okay? So before we start, I want you to pick one lane, okay? Here's your rule. For 30 days, minimum, pick one lane. This is going to make sense as the video goes on, but don't do printables on Monday, templates on Wednesday, print on demand on Friday. Like, that's not a strategy, that's a hobby with admin. And I say this with love, but we need to pick a lane and dedicate ourselves to it. So that's why, first up, for the first 30 days, pick a lane and stick with it. But maybe you're not sure which lane to pick, so let's talk about it. Okay, so these are all the ways that I see work really well with Canva and Etsy, listing products and it just selling and just being a dream. Okay, so here are those things. Number 1 is printables. And I know I'm being really vague, but I'm going to give you a list. So printables are files that people print directly at home, okay? I'm actually a massive fan of DocZoo. If you've not heard of it before, have a little Google, and it's basically a way for your pages, whatever, to be professionally printed. So like, that would be a really great place to direct people if you are worried about, oh, you know, printables sound great, but what if people don't have a printer at home? Which is a legit concern, okay? Because households with printers have something like halved over the past 10 years. So it is a legit concern. So having that on the back burner is a really good idea. Having a professional online printer that people can go to, or you can even go to, is just a really good idea. So something to have in the back of your mind here. So what actually sells? All right, let's talk about it. So we're not talking cute wall art with vague quotes or letters or numbers or whatever. Like, I'm going to prompt you to think functional, specific, and problem-based. In fact, let's write that down. So problem-based, functional, and specific. Please do not rock up with making digital art with like clip art and stuff like that and think that it's immediately going to sell, because your products, if you want them to sell printable wise, need to be functional, specific, and problem-based, okay? So let's talk about some examples now. So like wedding signage bundles are doing really well right now. So like welcome signs, seating charts, table numbers. Also kids reward charts are doing really, really well as well. So things, bedtime routines, potty training, all those kinds of things. Teacher resources, so classroom labels, worksheets. Party games are doing really well. Baby shower games, hen do games, things where you're taking the pressure off of people trying to host these damn things. And also small business printable inserts, things like care cards, thank you notes, order tracker sheets, etc. So these are all things that are problem-based, functional, and specific, things that people are actively searching for, that they have a problem that needs to be fixed. You are creating a product based on an existing need that your target audience has. So you want to create anything that saves time, reduces stress, or makes someone look good, okay, or make someone look organized, right? So I have a plan for you now, and underneath each of these, I'm going to give you a plan for you to actually do this in 10 minutes, okay? So step 1, I want you to go to Etsy and I want you to search your keyword. For example, potty training chart. Then I want you to look at the very first page, and then I want you to check on these products, on these shops. Are there a lot of reviews? Are listings using similar phrases? Are there bundles? And what these 3 things are going to tell you is there demand? Is there certain buyer language that's being used? And is there a pricing ceiling there? Then I want you to open the top 3 listings and ask yourself these 3 questions. What's missing? What could be clearer? and what's confusing. So this means you're not reinventing the wheel. You know, there are thousands of products out there probably in the niche you want to go into. So you're not reinventing the wheel. It's not a new thing. But what you are doing is improving. And you're improving on what's already out there. You're not reinventing. You are improving what's already out there. So now let's go through some Canva mistakes and tips and things that you need to be aware of when you're actually creating this, okay? So the first thing that I see people not do is you want to create the design sized in inches. I'm just writing this down on my iPad, okay? Design it in inches so that it's for printing. When people want to go and get a frame for it or they want to go and get it printed, it's designed in inches, not pixels, not anything like that, inches. Now for printables, okay, you want to export as a PDF print, not just a normal PDF. You want to export it as a PDF print. What that means is that the colors and everything, they're just a lot better and they're done in a way that is specific for printing. Also, if it needs to be editable, if it needs to be an editable Canva file, you want to provide two things. You need the PDF link and the Canva edit link, okay? Now, the thing with the Canva edit link is that you can only really do this successfully with a Canva Pro account. So just bear that in mind. In terms of pricing, start off with these as ballpark. So for a single printable, you're looking at around about the £2 to £6 mark. For a bundle, you're looking at the £7 to £15 mark. And for a mega bundle, something that has a lot of things included, you're going to be looking around the £17 to £35 mark. All right, now let's move on to avenue number 2, which is Canva templates. Okay, these are best for marketing brains, niche knowledge, all those kinds of things. Templates are amazing because it means that people do not have to start from scratch. I'm a huge fan of them because for me, like, when I'm spending time doing something, that's something else that I can't spend my time doing. Now, the thing with templates is you want ones that actually sell successfully on Etsy, which means you don't want generic social posts. You don't want to be doing anything that's in a saturated niche. You don't want to be doing things that are too vague. So here are some options that do really, really well. Number 1, Etsy listing photo overlays. These are going crazy right now. So things like dimensions, features, gift ready, personalized, specifically designed for people who sell on Etsy as well. Number 2, market stall sign bundles. So things like price sign templates, like card payment templates, custom order templates, all those kinds of things, ready, designed, editable so that people can actually like make it their own. Number 3, Instagram story templates for makers. Things like restocking, behind the scenes, new listing, etc. Brand kit templates, so logo text-based options, font pairing sheets, color palette documents, all those kinds of things. And the last one is thank you card templates for small business owners like fellow people who sell on Etsy. So one thing I want you to be aware of is people do not pay for the Canva file only, okay? They actually pay for what it helps them to do, how easy you make it, okay? They're paying for a shortcut at the end of the day, so don't make it more complicated than it would have been if they would have just done it themselves. So all you need to do is add a simple PDF with click here to access and a big link button thing, how to change colors and fonts, best done in a video, and printing/export instructions for them. Doing those things makes your product feel a lot more premium. And again, a simple note here is that template links, you actually need the Pro version of Canva. So just be aware of that. I think Canva Pro is worth its weight in gold. I use it all the freaking time. But if you don't want to use Canva Pro to start off with, you can just use the free version and you can create templates and sell them as PDFs. But honestly, if it was me, I think I would just invest in the pro account. Let's talk pricing. Okay, for a single template, you're looking at the £5 to £12 mark. For a bundle of like 10 to 30 templates, you're looking at £15 to £49. And for a toolkit, like templates, guides, all those kinds of things, you're going to be looking at £29 to £79. All right, lane number 3 is design services. This is a really, really cool one. This is good for quick cash, and I'm good at this, people. You know, people who are very creative, good at doing things like branding, all those kinds of things. So what are some services that people will pay for on Etsy? So you've got things like Etsy listing image sets, so photo overlays, those kinds of things. You've also got like a branding refresh, so like banner, logo, text, icons, social media stuff, all those. You've also got market store signage packs, again, like you're designing this for them. And then you've got something like a social media starter pack, so 10 posts, 20 story templates, things along those lines. Now, if you don't want to sell these things on Etsy, there are some other places that you can find clients, things like Etsy sellers groups, Instagram maker community, your own audience, and you can do Fiverr and Upwork if you really want to, but understandably, a lot of people are a bit when it comes to doing those. Now let's talk about pricing. So for a listing image pack, you're looking at £75 to £250. This is for 6 to 8 graphics. For a brand kit, you're going to be looking at £150 to £400. And for a full bundle, you're going to be looking at £300 to £900. And if you're thinking, oh my God, there's no way I could charge £900 for that, just remember this: you are saving them weeks of faffing around. That directly affects sales. And also you are customly designing this for that specific client, for that specific business. Now let's talk about lane number 4, which is print on demand, or pod for short. I'm going to call it pod because it's just easier. And I just want to reiterate here that pod is still a real business. You're not skipping the work, you're swapping the work. And I think that's like a real important mindset thing to be aware of. So being honest, there is a lot of generic pod crap on Etsy. There is a lot of generic pod crap on Etsy. This is why historically, people who start a pod business don't really go anywhere with it a lot of the time, because I think people just rock up with clip art, generic slogans, they copy someone else and they expect to kind of start to get sales, and that's not the case. So what you do want to do is you want niche specific humor. That's doing really well, like very, very niche specific stuff. You want things like insider phrases, people that like certain fan groups are going to know about. Also location-based stuff is doing very, very well. And also things that have got a lot of community love for it. So like, you know, an example would be off the top of my head, like you're either Team Edward, Team Jacob, the whole Twilight thing. I know that ages me a lot, but there was a community around those things. But what you do not want to do, that I do see a lot of pod shops being closed down for, is using IP and trademarked stuff. You would not believe the amount of people who I see doing this, and they'll like put song lyrics, or they'll put like, I don't know, some phrase that they've heard said just out and about without actually checking the trademarks. Please do make sure you do that, because, you know, it's a case of 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're banned from ever having an Etsy shop again. So you want to be making sure you're doing the right thing here. Now for Canva, you want to export this as a PNG with a transparent background if you are layering over a product, a mock-up. And you also want to make sure that wherever you are getting it printed, you get the print guidelines. So for example, Printful, Printify, you want to make sure that the design is within the print area you don't want to go over, otherwise it will be cut off. The pricing reality of pod is that profit margins can be extremely slim, okay? So here are the things you need to make decent money with pod. You need higher average order value, which means bundles, which means you need to sell more units for you to begin making a profit. You also need to have upsells, and you need to upsell into oblivion, because that does naturally increase your average order value. Or you need really strong positioning, okay? So you need to have an audience behind you. You need to have a lot of traffic that you can send to your shop. So if you hate to market, pod will feel like shouting into a bin. And I'm saying this with love, like I'm not saying it to be annoying, but if you are trying to do pod to get out of marketing your products, it is not going to work. Okay, now let's talk about homework. So pick one of those 4 lanes, okay? Pick one of those things. And again, just to recap, let's scroll all the way back up if it can. So the first one was printables. The second one was Canva templates. The third one was design services. And the fourth one was pod. So your homework is to pick one lane, okay? Then I want you to write down one product idea. So almost having like one lane and one product idea, okay? So that is your first part of your homework. The second part is to write down who it's for. Figure out your niche, figure out your target audience here. Then I want you to write down what problem it solves. And then I want you to go into Canva and create version 1, okay? I don't want you to be perfectionistic over this. I don't want you to procrastinate. Just go into Canva and just start creating the first version of this thing. And also, whilst you're at it, subscribe to this channel, podcast, wherever you are consuming this, if you want more episodes like this, which is very much no BS. Stop faffing around. Let's actually get on Etsy. Let's actually start making some money, start making some sales in the easiest, most simple way. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching / listening to this, depending on where you're consuming it. And I will see you next Wednesday for another episode of the How to Be a Handmade Boss show. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you love this episode, make sure you hit the follow button so you never miss the next one. And also, why not come and hang out with me on Instagram? It's at Handmade Bosses for daily tips, behind the scenes. And also, don't forget, you can catch the video version of this podcast over on YouTube too. Until next time, keep going towards your handmade business goals, boss, because the world really does need those special creations that only you can make.